Hey everybody, so welcome back to another episode of our executive mini-series here. And what we've been going over the last couple of weeks are the executive abilities. And we're up to episode 3 of executive abilities, and we're going to talk about agreement, how to gain agreement, how important that is. It's funny that we're actually going to have this shoot today and sharing this with you because I just got back from Washington State where I was at a private PPS not actually PPS, a private practice section for the Northwest in Washington State. And I gave an entire lecture on this topic of the difference between leadership and managers. Management and leadership are two different things. There are certain leadership skills and abilities, and there's certain managerial skills and abilities. And there's certain key elements that make you more successful in one over the other. And one of these key abilities of leadership and management, this one bridges both, is the ability to gain agreement. And the way you do that is there's a few basic foundations that you have to achieve comfortableness with. Like you literally have to achieve this level of being comfortable with communication, for instance. How do I actually make myself heard? How do I make myself understood? How am I giving the person with whom I'm speaking with the feelings of acknowledgement and validation and duplication? These are all very, very important key elements in achieving the ability of gaining agreement. So you have to master communication. Communication is actually a cycle. And if you've been watching this series, you've learned a bit more about that. And hopefully at this point, you're totally well on your way of being an effective communicator. In order to be an effective communicator, you first have to master the building block of confront, not confrontation. We're not creating an upset or anything like that, but we're definitely going to communicate and we're going to say what needs to be said and be as transparent as possible in our communication. Nobody respects a sugarcoater. Nobody respects somebody who's just saying what they need to say to be liked or to avoid an upset. None of us want to invite an upset, but if you're communicating with someone genuine and sincere and honest and in manners, you should have no problem saying what needs to be said, no matter what that may be. So if you have those two under your belt, now we have to achieve some form of agreement, right? Because that's what makes the world go round. And especially if you're in business, you're all about trying to move people forward into more and more plateaus of agreement. The higher you can get up the staircase of agreement, the more effective you are as a manager and leader. So how do we do that? Well, early on in a conversation, let's just break it down to its basics. I don't care if you're just meeting somebody for the first time. Hey, Brian, this is Sally. She's our new PT here. And I've got 5 minutes alone with Sally, or someone just introduced me. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to bring up topics of conversation that are going to be very common every day, if you will, or very safe, if you will, to gain agreement with. So Sally, it's so good to have you here. Isn't this place great? I mean, how do you like the environment? Was the visibility outside in terms of its traffic and visibility to the road for people to find the place? What'd you think of that? If I know it's good, I'm gonna ask things like that. Or hey, how was the weather when you came in? Or how did you enjoy PT school? Or where did you go to school? Or where did you last work? These are things, weather, work, family, hobbies, things you enjoy. These are things that you can quickly gain agreement with on people in a pretty safe bet most of the time, right? But once you start increasing the communication back and forth, and you're entering points of agreement into that conversation, it's very, things that you can easily agree upon. It's very easy then to shift over to the, main issues of the day or main issues of the position. So let's get down to it. Let's talk about the reason why you took the job here, and let me get into your new hire orientation. We're going to go through this first and these 9 things after, and then after that I'll take you to the floor and introduce you to some therapists. How's that sound? And yeah, that sounds great. The person knows where you're going, where we're starting from, and what the end result is that you're asking of them. So things like that, where you eliminate the mystery, eliminate the unknown, give greater points of certainty, give a greater runway of activities that are going to happen in the next hour, 2 hours, half a day, 2 days, 1 day. Let people know where they stand and where we're going. The anxiety level is going to go down, and their comfortableness with you as a person is going to go way up. Now, when you get to more difficult, more challenging issues, whether you're talking about pay or time or, money and time are usually the two biggest issues, you're going to have a greater standing with that person, and they're going to have a greater understanding of you. You have a greater understanding of them, and you can easily achieve agreement when you're in that position versus if you've already disagreed on the small things, the little things when you first got to know each other. It's the same thing with dating, right? Nobody wants to go out on a date and have the person talk all about themselves, and then the girl across the table or the guy across the table is like, oof, when is this thing over? Oh my goodness. It's like, no. Ask about what's your favorite movie or what kind of music do you like to listen to? And then just, yeah, me too. It's gotta be truthful, but this is what I'm getting at. Like, enter into safe zones of communication where you can easily kind of see eye to eye, and then escalate that up in management, and then you're going to have no trouble at all moving the group, moving the masses toward the key principles that you need to be responsible for as a manager and as a leader to run a successful practice. Like, for instance, moving your staff off of a salary and benefit model to a pay-for-performance model. Really hard to do looking on the outside, looking in, but really easy to do when you understand the perks, benefits, the added value that's going to be given back to the employees who actually jump over to a pay-for-performance model. Better for the employee, better for the employer, better for the patients, better for the practice. You're going to be able to achieve more things with fewer people, and anytime you can achieve more things with fewer people, the more successful you will be. So I hope this conversation was good. I hope you can kind of think through some of the things I talked about, enter into smaller points of agreement early on, try to be understood, try to understand, and then move into the more riveting aspects of what you're trying to get across or what you're working on and the bigger principles of the day, if you will. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in to our YouTube channel. I really appreciate if you could click subscribe or like. Those things really move us up. I get to talk to more people and help more people that way. You're helping me help more people just like yourself. Thank you so much for your time. I really do respect it, and I appreciate you very much.